That man was so inspired till after he tried to take a rope and hang himself, the rope broke. He tried to go to the river to commit suicide, and the cab couldn't even find the river. It was so foggy. And just to show that how that inspiration catches a man, catches him away. Then when he comes out of that, like Stephen Foster gave this nation its greatest folk songs, Old Black Joe, Down the Swanee River, Old Kentucky Home. Every time that he'd get inspiration and write a song, then he would get on a drunk. Finally, he got out from under the inspiration and called a servant and took a razor and committed suicide. And now think about Jonah the prophet. God inspiring him. That great eagle of the air of that day. God inspired him so till he went down there and laid in the belly of a whale for 3 days and nights. Walked out upon the bank and give a message that made even them people put sackcloth on their animals. And when the Spirit left him, he went up on top of the hill and sat down and asked God to let him die. That's right. We find this great Elijah, who John was a type of, the great eagle of that day, mighty, rugged man, great woodsman, lived in the woods in a cave. And he came out, stomped out into amongst the people, and God would take him up into places that Israel know nothing about, and declare the message and says, "Thus saith the Lord," and stomp back into the wilderness again. To find that great eagle, when he stomped out there and told that king, "There'll not even be dew come from the heavens, but according to my word." Walked right back out there when he walked down that Samaritan road that day, that stick in his hand, that piece of sheepskin wrapped around that bald head of shining, whiskers hanging down them steps as steady as they could be, coming down that Samaritan road. But he knowed who he had been in the presence of. He wasn't afraid of what Ahab was going to say, because he had been in the presence of somebody greater than Ahab. He had been in the presence, and he had, "Thus saith the Lord." Those old eyes set back, all those wrinkles was looking right toward the sky. He's walking steady because he knowed he had, "Thus saith the Lord." Oh, he was the eagle. Went up on top of the mountain and drunk at the brook there until it went dry, and went back down there and called a meeting. When God gave him a vision, went up on top of the mountain and said, "Let's prove who's God. Let's see who's God." If he ever was God, he's still God. That's right. Oh, I like them eagles. Yes, sir. Went up on there and said, "Let's prove God." And he said, called the way that God told him the vision. He said, "You take a bullock, and I'll take a bullock, and you call on Balaam, and I'll call on God. And every which one answers before I let him be God." And while he was so certain of himself, so certain of his vision, while they were calling on Balaam all morning and cutting themselves and screaming and jumping, he walked around and said, "Say, maybe you better holler a little more. Maybe he's pursuing, or maybe he's taking a nap." Oh, he knew where he was standing. It was. But after he had proved God, his eagle eye become filmed. And when Jezebel threatened that she would kill him, he run out into the wilderness. God found his servant laying under a juniper tree, running after he had proved God to be God. Nervous, upset. When you go up in those spheres that does something to the human heart, when you come down, you can't explain it. It takes you somewhere there's no need of trying to talk about it. Visions and so forth that tear you to pieces. You can't tell the other people, they don't understand it. They've never been there, so how would you know about it? So it tears them to pieces. God's so kind to his servant, to feed him and encourage him and out under the juniper tree. But after he had had such confidence in Jehovah, so sure that he could walk up before the king and said, "Not even dew will fall, but according to my word." Stomped right out of the king's palace, anointed. Then He had a vision of what to do. Then he went right out there on that mountain and called down fire out of the heavens, proving he was God. Then called rain down out of the heavens on the same day. And then killed 400 men. Priests, pagan priests, cut their heads off. And then run. When the vision left him, nervous, sitting out there, said, I'm no better than the rest of my fathers. I'm no more than any other prophets. Now, Lord, take my life. I'm the only one's left. I'm the only one's preaching the right gospel, so just take my life. Let me go. They get all frustrated like that. But God said,